and life. What are we talking about today, Shinjini?
Wait. Your video is lagging.
My
So it's
video's
like,
lagging?
yeah, so the audio is coming first and the video is coming later. So I'm just like a little distracted.
Of course, that had to happen.
Now it's fine. Now it's fine. So
All
let's do
right.
the intro again. Let's do the intro again.
Okay, let's do the intro again. All right. Hi!
Hi.
Welcome to the Star Stories in Life podcast and videocast, where we talk about the stars, stories, and life. This episode, we're going to be talking about what, Shinjini?
One of my favorite festivals, I would say, Halloween.
Halloween.
Yes.
Halloween.
Darkness, death, new beginnings, and many endings. I like that.
Yeah, it's a lot of really nice things if you think about it.
I absolutely agree. And this is something that I've realized more since I've come to Mexico because, well, in India, we don't really have an autumn season or fall, as Americans call it, because it's tropical, so we only have summers, like wet seasons and dry seasons. But what really marked the advent of autumn, or winter is coming, was this set of yearly traditions that my culture followed. So, just for information, I don't know if our viewers or listeners will understand this, but I have to make it clear where I come from. So I am an Indian. I that's where I was born, and that's where I grew up. It was in a city called Kolkata, which means that I'm a Bengali. Well, not necessarily, but I am a Bengali, which means that's my culture, my language, my cuisine, my everything. So yeah, whenever I talk about my culture, that's specifically what I'm talking about, not necessarily like the whole country, because India is very, very diverse, culturally speaking.
Yes.
So yeah, in Kolkata, like we knew that, oh, winter was coming, or okay, this is quote unquote fall, when we had these like celebrations. So the celebration is on today this year. We started with the Durga Puja festivals, and then we worship the goddess of wealth, Lakshmi, and then we worship the goddess of death, Kali. So that has been the order since I remember. So yeah, actually, I can't remember if we celebrated goddess of wealth before the goddess of death or after, or was it like different every year? I can't remember, but more or less that was the order. So yes, it was amazing, and I want to talk about them. But it's kind of like my Halloween or our Halloween. We didn't really trick or treat, but it seems like I was doing some research, and it seems like the whole culture of trick or treating, like going door to door to ask for things, is pretty common around the world.
Yes.
Did you trick or treat when you were a kid?
Yeah, I did trick or treat when I was a kid because I grew up in the U.S. Not very legally, but I did.
Not very legally.
And yeah, it's like, my parents went to go visit my aunt, and they stayed, and that's where I grew up. So I did do trick or treat. I can remember a couple of the costumes I wore. The first costume I can remember is a Pocahontas costume that I wore, yes. From the movie specifically. I don't know if my mom made it or if she bought it. I do not remember. But I know I had I had the normal colored one, and my sister wore the blue one. Or was it pink? She had a different colored one, but it was like the same.
There was a colored Pocahontas?
It was a colored like dress. And that's the first one I remember. I think, how old was I? I had to be It was the same year that the movie came out, so I had to be around like 7,
Okay, that
something
was
like
pretty
that.
young.
I was really young. Like, I don't know if there was anything if I did anything before that. I don't remember. And
So
then
that's your earliest Halloween memory?
that's my earliest Halloween memory, and I can remember that where we were trick or treating that time is when we lived in a trailer park, like a little itty bitty trailer park, and we went trick or treating around the house, and I remember that in one of the houses, like an older gentleman greeted us instead of with candy with raw meat.
What?
He didn't give us the raw meat. He just he was just there with it, and I was like, okay, that's neat, gross.
Raw meat, like not even
Raw meat,
seasoned?
like cubes of raw meat. I guess he was going to like cook it, and he took the advantage of the fact that children came to the door to scare them with meat. I don't know. It's weird. And
So how did you know if somebody was giving out Halloween candies? Like, did they have decorations on their door, or did they say
see,
something?
if I remember correctly, I think the like universal, you could say, sign that you are giving out candy on Halloween is to have your porch light on. So
Oh,
if your porch light is on, you're giving out candy. If you're not, it's off. Basically, that's the way it was when I was growing up. I don't know if it's the same now.
okay.
You know what, with people being so protective over their children and stuff. But back then it was just, like if the light's on, you go. If it's not, and where we lived, it was pretty cold in October, so you were almost never. It's like rarely were you able to show off the whole costume because it was cold, so you had a jacket. And like I can remember just a few of the costumes and a few of the times that I went out trick or treating. I can remember, I think the last time that I went trick or treating, I might have been 12, maybe.
That was the last time?
I think so. I'm not sure. But I went as like character from the Matrix is what.
What?
So it was around what year was did the Matrix come out?
I think it was 1999.
1999.
Yeah.
So if I was 7 and the Pocahontas came out in 1990, like 5?
Probably. I actually
I
do
was
not
like
remember
11.
watching that movie. And
I
I don't think I've watched it as an adult, obviously, but I don't remember watching it as a kid either.
The Matrix?
No,
Pocahontas.
Pocahontas.
I didn't watch it a lot growing up. It wasn't one of my favorites. I love the music. The music is really nice in that
I think
movie.
Disney movies usually have good
They
music.
usually have really nice music, and the art, obviously, Disney movie art most of the time it's really good. Most of the time. Sometimes it's not, but most of the time it's really good. So I know that the art was really nice and that the music is really nice. I haven't seen it a lot as an adult, but because it's like not exciting. So like why? And then
Yeah, I agree with you about that. Like,
not exciting.
yeah, like the story doesn't even attract me. And when I heard like these horror stories around Pocahontas, I was like, eek. Yeah.
Yeah, when you hear the real story, then you're like,
I don't wanna.
You're like, I don't even want a realistic version of that. It's not.
True. Exactly.
It does not sound fun. It doesn't sound like a good time. Even though, like, if a Native American like movie group, because I know they exist, were to make like a historically accurate Pocahontas, I'd be behind that. Great. Let's see you guys do it. Like, let's see you guys do it. Great.
Yeah. I mean, I don't really like watching movies where minorities are getting tortured or killed, or it's very hard for me to watch movies like that, like really socially real movies. you know?
Yeah.
It's
It's
very
hard
hard
to
for
see
me.
the reality. It's hard.
Yeah, because when I'm watching a movie, I'm trying to escape reality.
Yeah.
So that's a no for me. Like,
Yeah.
great movie. You know, there are a lot of those movies that I haven't watched. It's like you can tell me, but I'm like, I'm not gonna watch it.
Yes, like you would hate The Color
Congratulations to
Purple. I
you.
think you would hate it.
Yeah, I would probably be like, congratulations to you, but I'm not gonna watch it.
Mhm. Okay, so then because I started going down the memory hole, and I was like, oh, what other costumes did I wear? I want to know, and I couldn't
Uh-huh.
remember. So I sent a message to my mom. I was like, Mom, do
Uh-huh.
you remember other costumes? She could only remember two other ones. That once I was Jack from The Night Before Christmas, and I think my sister was Sally.
Did you
And I
always do like a pair up with your sister, or
not
was it
always,
not always?
but a lot of the time, yes, because it was just like, we were gonna go together anyway. And then one time I was the trash queen from Elmo in Grouchland. That was a thing.
They're really nice costumes.
They were creative, I remember. And I think I was a cowgirl once, but I
You
can't
were a
remember
cowgirl
very
once
much. A
too?
cowgirl once. Long time. We're just and then and so yeah, like you would just go to people's houses, usually around like your general neighborhood, like maybe 2-3 blocks around where you lived, and that was like about it.
Do you have pictures?
There has to be. If I find
If you,
them,
yeah, you
I'm
should
gonna go to
share
my
them.
mom's house on Sunday, so I'm gonna
You
look
should
through
share them with
the
the viewers
albums,
if you
and
can.
I'm gonna take pictures of the pictures of me in costume, and we're gonna put them up here if they're not too embarrassing. Hey guys, editing Emma here. Um, just wanted to let you guys know that I totally forgot to look for those pictures. I was at my mom's house, and the thought didn't even come to my mind. It totally spaced. I'm sorry. If I can get those pictures next week when I go to visit my parents again, I'll be sure to post them on the Instagram. So follow us on Instagram. And those pictures may be up. I will look for some. I know I have some here in my house. If I have those will be on the Instagram the day this podcast goes up. So go there and look for those. We need to be more active on the Instagram, and I'm sorry. Back to the podcast. So I mean, they're probably not they're
I
just
mean, you were
in
kids, so
costumes.
I
Yeah,
don't
kids in
think it
costumes. This is the
matters.
way it is. And if I can find other costumes that I wore, I'll add those as well. And probably with like a little bit of like audio commentary if I can remember anything. Anyway, so there was that we did up until probably like 2 years before we left the U.S. and then we came here, and that's when I started learning about Dia de los Muertos, which isn't really Halloween because it's in November.
No. Yeah, I guess I was going to say that, like, of course, Halloween is always on 31st October.
Yeah.
But I think other religions or cultures, they celebrate around this time. It's not
It's like
necessarily,
around.
yeah,
It's
they're
because
all
it's
like
supposed to be
celebrating
like
fall
harvest
somewhere.
time, so it's like around here. Oh,
Uh-huh.
we did used to go to the pumpkin patch. I remember the pumpkin patch. It was fun.
Patch? What is that?
Pumpkin patch. Well, pumpkins grow in big patches.
Yeah, I've seen it. I've not actually seen it. I've seen it in oh my God, what is the name of that cartoon?
And Charlie
It's so,
Brown?
yes, Charlie Brown.
Just
Charlie Brown.
like
I
that. That's
always
exactly what they look like.
yeah, so I watch Charlie Brown, I think, every year during Halloween. I think they also come up with new episodes every year, right?
Of Charlie Brown? I don't think so. Not
Or
anymore. Not since.
okay.
Did he die?
Yeah,
I
I'm
think
like
he
super
did.
confused about that because
Did he die?
I did watch I think Charlie Brown. Okay, I have to ask Google.
Let's see.
Charlie Brown.
Yeah, he died in 2000.
Okay, so I've been watching the same movie again and again.
Yeah, I know. I think that Halloween movie traditions are probably things that everybody has.
Mm-hmm.
Like when I was growing up, it was always
Yes.
Hocus Pocus, a movie that is called The Halloween Tree, which is a great movie. It's
Halloween
this
tree.
The Halloween Tree. This is the book of the movie.
Oh,
I
that's so
bought the book
cute.
because I had heard that the book had a lot more like it was more like fanciful and stuff. And so I bought the book, and it's different from the movie. But it was always this movie, Hocus Pocus, and one more. What was the other one? I don't
Yeah,
remember what the other one is, but
Hocus
there was
Pocus
another
was
one.
very scary for me because when I was a kid, like watching those witches' faces, like they were very scary. I mean, I remember being like, what is this? There was also another witch movie, which was this story about this witch turning children into rats in a hotel.
I know that one. That one's called Witches.
Ah, yes, witches. So that those were the two movies that I saw when I was young, and it really scared me. Um,
Yeah,
but now
Witches
I
is really
understand.
scary.
Yeah,
Witches is really scary.
I don't remember if I was a child or if I was a teenager when Witches came out, but I remember being
It's
scared.
old. Witches is old.
It's 1990, right? Or 1980? Yeah.
1990 exactly. 1990.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, then I watched like both of them like when I was like really young. Can't remember the age, but I mean my age that is, but oh God, it was so scary. And I for a long time I thought that witches like their special characteristic was that they hated kids
Me
and they
too.
wanted to yeah, that they hated kids and they wanted to get rid of them somehow by like turning them into rats or like they're,
Eating them, stuff like
slaves or
that.
yeah,
Yeah.
and like Hansel and Gretel, another
Yeah, yeah,
story,
yeah.
It's like why are witches like that? And of course, like now I know and I've read books about witches on witchcraft, and it's like, I mean, I'm also a low-key witch, I would say. So,
Like we
um,
don't eat babies on purpose.
no, I do hate kids.
I know, right? It's like, well, I do hate kids though.
That part is probably true. I don't know, but
Is it kids get in the way of your craft? That's why they don't like kids. But
I actually do not know anybody who is into like witchcraft but likes kids. Oh yeah. I just remember. Yes,
I
there
know
are
a
witches.
couple. I don't understand why, but
Yeah,
whatever. They can like kids if they like a
they
kid.
like kids. They are a kid sometimes if they like kids. But yeah, the kinds of witches I've seen are like, I mean, real life witches, not the movie witches. They are
Yeah.
like very kid-like, you know.
Yes.
Um, and they like, and those are the ones that like kids. And there's the grumpy ones,
AKA us.
exactly, who don't like kids.
Where you just
Usually
like
they're one of the
you
two.
just have your money jar and you're like, I just need money for things. Give me money
Yes,
jar.
there are also like the
I'm gonna
plant
light a
witches.
candle from my money jar. Hold on. Keep talking. I'm listening.
There are also the plant witches. Like they're really, really
Oh
into
yeah, the
plants.
herbalists.
And they also hate kids, but they hate kids for a reason because kids are always destroying their plants. Um, what else? What else? Who else do I know? Um, oh,
Uh,
there are also certain witches who have a lot of cats. Um, but they're very clean. Like you wouldn't smell cats in them in their house. That's very weird for me.
not smelling cats.
Like they have so many cats, like 4 or 5 of them, but they don't smell of cat, neither nor does their house.
I know that. I don't understand how people can do that.
Yeah, yeah, but I guess that's why they are witches, so
Oops,
they can
that
get the
failed.
smell off.
Yes, different types of witches. Different types of witches. So tell me about the the festival that you guys did in India.
Yeah, so although I did not grow up religious at all, and this is something that I always like it, I don't know, it always comes into conversation, but it's true. Like, I did not grow up religious at all, although my country is known for being religiously fanatic.
Really?
But I guess like that's everybody's impression or understanding of India. Like, when I came to Mexico, everybody was like, "Oh, you are from that country where people don't eat cows because of their religion. Oh, you're from that country where where Hindus and Muslims are always at war." And I'm like, yikes. So we are, I don't know. I mean, I guess people kind of think that we are, that religion kind of, fosters us in a way through our education, culture, parents, society. But I grew up really, really, really non-religious. But my parents were agnostics, are agnostics. But I grew up around different kinds of religion. So I had a very different experience. Like, nothing in the family, but my Hindu friends, my Muslim friends, they all had their thing going on. I didn't really have a lot of Christian or Sikh friends, but anyway. So yeah, if you didn't know, but Hindus are the majority in India. So, and within Hindus, there are like millions of other cultures. So they have their own thing going on. But in Kolkata, what I can say is that around this time, like late September or like late October, like September, October, around this time, this is when we start celebrating the goddess of power, the Hindu goddess of power called Durga. And it's like Durga, like Durga.
Durga.
Yeah. So we celebrate her, like, I think for a week, like major celebration for a week. So the story is that, I'll be very brief because it's a long story. The story
like
is that
all those stories are.
Yeah. That she lives in heaven, of course, in the skies, and she has come for those 47 days. She comes to her Bapir Bari, or like her, her father's house where she's originally from, to kind of spend her days on earth. So yeah, we celebrate her advent, which is, I think, called Mahalaya. That's when technically all the celebrations start. But actually the last 4 or 5 days, or the last week of her stay, is actually the biggest celebration. Yeah. So that's what happens. And the way people usually celebrate is like, cleaning their whole house. Everything is new. Like, they buy new clothes, new stuff. They go out, they check out different kinds of idols, because the goddess of power is, literally idolized in different kinds of, parks and areas. And they're just like put there, and people go there to see these different idols with different concepts and sculpture.
So do these idols, do people make new ones all the time and just set them up?
Yes, every year the artists, the sculptors get new orders from different organizations to make these idols. Yeah, and when on the last day of the celebration, we then immerse it into the Ganges River. That is also another big celebration. So everybody like gets onto the truck. I'm going to show you pictures. I'm going to share the pictures with you so that you can share it with our viewers. So
what are these statues made out of?
Mud, clay.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. They look so good.
They do, and we make it with mud and clay, so that when we immerse it, it disappears. It melts. Yeah, it disperses, exactly. That's so that cool. I guess we don't pollute the river, but that, I'm sure that's not the intention. But anyway, yeah, we make it with earth type materials, because that's where we, like, that makes the idol more human, not human, like it's like symbolic of her coming to earth, That's why we make it with earth. Um, yeah, so it's a crazy celebration because wow, it's intense. Like every neighborhood has their own idol with their own rituals. Um, Mostly women participate, like they are in charge. But there is a priest who does all the mantras and the Sanskrit, everything is in Sanskrit. So the priest is the one who does all the Sanskrit mantras. And um, apparently, on the eighth day, there is this ritual called Pushpanjali. It's a very popular thing among students and actually among everybody. So people usually do this ritual called Pushpanjali, where they fast in the morning. Like they have to do the ritual in an empty stomach. They can have water, but I think that's it. They cannot have any solids. So they would go to the idol. Everybody would gather together and repeat after the priest's Sanskrit mantra. And I guess whatever you wish for, it comes true. People say that. So everybody's like always trying to make sure that they do that. So yeah, after the goddess of power, the celebration continues. Like, of course, there are a couple of days gap, and then we have the goddess of wealth, Lakshmi. So Lakshmi is an introvert, sort of, because she doesn't like noise. Like during Durga Puja celebrations, like everybody is banging on drums and different kinds of drums and metal plates. But during the celebration of goddess of wealth, it's like you have to be absolutely quiet, because people say that if you are very noisy, if you are, like you like to scream or shout or make a lot of noise, then the goddess of wealth will leave your home and you'll be poor. So yeah, so it's considered very unruly and unlucky if you have noisy people in your house. And then we have the goddess of death, which is personally my favorite because she has a very amazing story. Um, so people used to say a long time ago, like a really long time ago, probably when the British were still here, there used to be a lot of robbers. It was like this group of robbers in different regions, and they used to worship the goddess of death. And they said that worshiping the goddess of death brought them a lot of luck and protection from getting, arrested by the British and stuff like that. And yeah, like they had their own thing going on. Like we call them dakat. Like we had like a different name for them, dakat, which was like a very era kind of thing. We don't have them anymore. But yeah, dakat used to be one of those people, their job or their profession or whatever you call it was robbery, like to rob rich people. That's what they did. I don't know how I feel about that. I mean, I guess robbery is bad, but I mean, it depends on who you rob, right?
I know, right?
So goddess of death Kali is very popular in my culture, in Bengali culture, because of her mystic powers, the fact that she governs death. And basically everything, like if you think of Scorpio, you think of, hidden powers, death, transformation. That's exactly what Kali is. It's very Scorpio energy,
Yeah. I'm looking at these pictures of her, and yeah, that's what that is.
Yeah, her story is that she was I guess I can't remember exactly, but what I was told was that she got really mad one day about something that her husband did. Like, I don't know, her husband Shiva was not paying her attention or something like that. There was some misunderstanding. And she got like really mad and she like took off her clothes and she killed a bunch of people. And then people were like, the other gods were like, oh my God, we can't stop her. Like, and they told Shiva, like, hey, do something to your wife. Like she's gone crazy. And then he was like, okay, I'm gonna go talk to her. He was actually probably like smoking marijuana or something, or getting high somewhere. He couldn't give a shit, but everybody like went to him and was like, oh my God, your fucking wife is like going crazy. She's gonna bring the end of the world. And then he's like, okay, cool, I'm gonna go talk to her. So he went to her to talk to her, but she was like so into her thing, like going crazy. So she accidentally stepped on her husband, Shiva,
Oh,
and
okay.
and then took her tongue out, like oopsie poopsie. And that's when she stopped. That's when she stopped her quote unquote madness. So yeah, that's her story. She's a killer. She doesn't keep prisoners, but she also protects you from evil. It's weird. It's weird. She's very
Yeah,
complex. She's very complex.
yeah.
There are also other versions of her story. People say that, oh no, she's not a different person. She's just one of the avatars of goddess Durga, um, or goddess Parvati. So apparently she's one of the avatars. Apparently Hindu gods had many avatars. Like it was just one god or one goddess, but they had like hundreds of avatars and they had different names. Like Parvati, Durga, Kali. There was another one, can't remember. But yeah. So yeah, there are many stories, but I like Kali too because I feel like she's very feminist in many ways.
Yeah.
And she's scary, intimidating to men and gods. Like when she gets really mad, like even the gods, like they tremble in, thinking what she would do. So that's pretty cool. So yeah, that's pretty much like our Halloween thing, but we don't go door to door asking for anything. That's considered being greedy and very frowned upon in India. Um, you never ask for things, you never beg. Like it's considered you just don't do that. Um, yeah, I don't think there are any similarities between what I have seen in the Western world and what I have seen in India. We don't really have anything like that. Although there is this one thing called, I think Pitra. Wait, let me check. I think I wrote it down somewhere. It's called. Where are you? Where are you? It's called Pitru Paksh. So Pitru Paksh happens around August, September, not really October, November. So this is the Hindu lunar month of Bhadrapad. I know I'm saying a lot of Sanskrit words, but the idea is that, around August, September, there is this time where it's very similar to Dia de los Muertos, because Dia de los Muertos also, like, your dead ancestors, they come to the world of living to spend time with their loved ones and be with their families, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so we have something very similar around this time. I don't think a lot of people celebrate that though, Pitru Paksh, but there is one ritual, but with a twist. So at this time, the dead souls are allowed to come to earth to be with their families, but their families have to do a fire ritual, which is called a Shraddha. So if they do not perform the Shraddha, then the soul will wander the earth for eternity. Yeah.
Oh.
So during Pitru Paksh, the families will offer the dead a lot of types of food and sweets. Yeah, but served on banana leaves, and they have to do the Shraddha. So that's why the souls who are stuck in purgatory, they would come to earth, hoping that their families would do the Pitru Paksh for them, the Shraddha ritual for them, so that they can be released, they can be released from purgatory, or they'll be stuck there forever. So people who don't have family, I don't know what they're gonna do. I guess they're stuck in purgatory.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gee, that's a lot.
Yeah, but did you know that I think the concept of Halloween probably came from Ireland or Scotland?
Yeah.
Did you read about their Halloween ritual?
From what I remember, because I studied this not too long ago. So basically, when pagan people came to the Americas, along with everybody who came to the Americas, they had their own harvest time rituals that you would do so that the harvest was bountiful, so that you didn't suffer such devastating winters. And that was more or less around this time. And it was there's a lot of different versions I've heard, but most of them revolve around around the festival of, let me see if I can remember the exact pronunciation. Samhain. It's not Samhain. 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 It's not easy to remember because that's not how.
Yeah, because that's not how they write it.
Yeah,
that's not how they write it. But it's
Gaelic is Irish. Weird. Okay.
Yeah, but I think it's Irish or Scottish. So yeah, a lot of the words, a lot of the letters that they write, they're not pronounced.
Yeah, they're they put letters together, they make a whole different sound.
Yeah.
And so that ritual, there were so many different rituals that were done. So the exact ones that came to the Americas were the ones where you would leave food outside for the spirits, and then children would dress up as the spirits to scare away, as good spirits to scare away evil spirits, if I'm remembering that correctly, more or less. And they would get the candy along with the fairies and stuff like that. And which other rituals were the ones that the pumpkins, that they're like lights to guide good spirits to your house so that they can give your home and your crops blessings.
Okay.
And mostly the candy, because sweets and milk and stuff like that are what the Fae enjoy consuming. So you would have that out for them so that they can enjoy it. And over time that just diluted into the Halloween that we have now.
What about the tradition of bobbing apples? Have you seen that?
Apples, yes. Is it apples?
Are the treasure hunts and picking up those bobbing apples with your mouth. I think that was pretty cool.
Yeah, I think that's more of a harvest, an apple harvest ritual, and it wasn't always getting them out of water.
What was it?
I think it was putting them on a string. You had to try to get them.
Put them on a string, and you try to bite the hanging apple.
Yeah, looking ridiculous as you would. And
that's fun.
It is fun. I remember that. I didn't do bobbing for apples a lot, but I don't like putting my face in water.
It's kind of, yeah, I don't know how hard that is though.
It's very hard.
It is? Yeah,
it's probably very difficult.
I think biting it would be kind of hard.
Biting is the difficult part.
Yeah, I also remember that they make this cake called barn brack. It's like a fruit cake, and when they make that cake, they put coins or straws. What else they put? Something like that. They put a lot of these things, and whoever, oh, a ring. So it's like whichever piece you get. I think the other, like the other, no, it's a different cake. So yeah, whoever gets like the ring, it means that, oh, you're getting married. If you get the straw, then you're gonna have a very prosperous year. Or if you get a coin, oh yeah, you're gonna get money, stuff like that. So I think that's pretty cool, like the whole foretelling thing. I know that Mexico also has a tradition like that where they put the baby Jesus into cake, but that's not Halloween. That's something else.
That's closer to, that's after Christmas.
Yeah, it's in February, right?
January.
Okay. Yeah, beginning of the year. What is it called?
Dia de los Reyes.
Exactly. Dia de los Reyes. And yeah. But what does that signify if you get a baby Jesus?
If you get the baby Jesus, you have to bring the food in the festival that is connected to this one.
So it's not a fortune telling thing.
No, it's responsibility.
I don't like that.
The baby gives responsibility.
Ooh, symbolic.
Yes. But what day is it? It's I don't remember what day it's connected to, but it's another religious holiday. It's like Dia de los Reyes is when they bring baby Jesus his gifts, and then there's another day after that, but I don't remember what it's connected to. I forgot. I have to ask my mom.
People say that Jesus is not a Capricorn because people
have to have been born in like who knows when. No, never asked.
But yeah, Jesus is not a Capricorn because everybody says that he was born on the 25th December. No, because that was stolen from the pagans. Yeah, he was a Pisces.
He had to have been like a Pisces.
He was a Pisces. People say that because he was born in the beginning of the age of Pisces. That's why people say that. And it's possible like he was born in late February, early March. Like because
they hung around that area for a long time. I think about it. But then we don't know when all of the dates were originally, so.
Yeah. I mean, the calendar that we follow right now is Gregorian. I'm sure before that, like.
Yeah, it must have been way different.
We don't have access to that.
No, we don't. That's sad. I would like to at least know the calendar.
Hindus have a different calendar.
Huh?
Hindus have a different calendar.
Yeah, they do.
I mean, that's the calendar we follow when it comes to saying that it's basically to track harvests and when to reap.
That's what the year was for anyway.
When to reap, when to sow, like the moon cycles. And yeah, it was very much revolved around agriculture, and a lot of people still follow that to say, oh, this year, because the Durga Puja celebrations, every year the date changes because it doesn't follow the Gregorian calendar. It follows the Hindu calendar. I don't know what it is called though, but I know that it was different, and I found that really weird.
Yeah. Weird.
Because nobody else followed it.
No. Like, why did it become so proficient, I wonder?
I think according to the Hindu calendar, this is 1428. The year 1428. I don't know what that means.
I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that.
Yeah, we are in 1428 or 1427, one of them. So yeah, even astrologers look at that calendar sometimes. So when it is April in Gregorian calendar, that's when the Bengali New Year starts. Like the Chinese New Year. The Chinese New Year is in February. So even the Chinese have their own calendar. So their year starts in February. For the Bengalis, it starts in April. Because we start the year with spring, not with winter. That's why it's a little like, what is happening?
Yeah, a little weird.
Yeah. Also, I don't know why it's 1428. Not.
And not longer.
Yeah,
Maybe there was
know.
like a hard reset not too long, and like
They were
428,
like,
1428 years ago.
yeah, exactly. They were like, we fucked up, restart.
Restart. Let's do this again. It is year 1.
Yeah. I don't know, but I'll read up about it.
Yeah.
Like it just came to me.
Mm-hmm.
There are like, but the thing is that I don't think it's a wholly European or American thing, because there are other cultures in South Asia or Southeast Asia, where people celebrate, Southeast Asia and East Asia, where people celebrate Halloween like festivals. Like, for example,
Yeah.
in Japan, you have the Kawasaki Halloween parade.
Parade.
My God, what happened to my English? Parade, a Kawasaki Halloween parade. I am tired and I don't have dopamine in my brain, so I'm sorry. I can't think of words. And what are words? What is language?
What is
What is brain?
language? What's it for?
Yeah. So yeah, in Japan there is a Kawasaki Halloween parade. I don't know if it's like their original culture or that's just like their version of Halloween. I don't know. But it's like one of the biggest parades there. But yeah, I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
The one that is more original I know is from the Philippines. It's called Panganga Lulua. Panganga Lulua.
I'll take your word for it. That's the way
it's very similar to the Pitru Paksh that I was talking about in India. So it's the same thing, like, but it's the way that it's different is that children have to go door to door in costumes, and but they sing and ask for prayers for those stuck in purgatory.
Okay.
Yeah. But of course, I don't think they still do it, maybe like in some regions of the Philippines, because it's so similar to the American Halloween, like a lot of people have kind of like taken that and don't really do the Panganga Lulua tradition anymore, but I hope it comes back. But that is like the original thing from Philippines. Very similar to the whole purgatory story of Pitru Paksh in India. In Hong Kong too, there is this Hungry Ghost Festival. Have you heard of that?
I feel like I have.
I think you have, because it's very popular. It's like from mid-August to mid-September, like around that time. They do the Hungry Ghost Festival. So they think that the spirits like kind of get restless during this time and they're roaming the world. So the festival is to feed these spirits, these restless spirits, and money. You give them food and money that they need that they would need like for their afterlife. I think they burn paper. They burn paper and then they give food and money. So that's a Hungry Ghost Festival. I kind of relate because I feel like if I die and become a ghost, I would go to
food and money.
I was like, give me food and money, bitch. Like, yeah, that's what I would be. That's where I would go.
Yes.
I don't know if ghosts can travel to different countries or different cultures.
That's a good question. Like, when you're a ghost, are you just anchored to where you live?
Yeah. Shouldn't be like that, or is it?
I don't know. Like, from what I know of ghosts are anchored to either a place or an object. So if they get anchored to an object and the object goes to another country, then the ghost goes with it. That's the idea. It doesn't
have like an autonomy over its movement.
Where it goes, no.
Okay.
Not really. Well, like, I don't know if there's any ghosts that are like haunting airplanes and they just kind of get off at random stops. I don't know. They just get on and off of airplanes. That's all they do. Who knows? Maybe. Who's to say?
I'm thinking like somebody died at the airport or something.
They died on the plane.
Yeah, like very close to the plane. Like they were boarding and they died of a heart attack, and that's where they live now. That's where they are.
Yeah, they just are always getting on the plane. I wouldn't doubt it if there's a an airport somewhere where they have that kind of story.
By the way, in Nigeria, their celebration of death is actually, I think, for 6 months.
6 months.
Yeah, so like half of the year. It's, I think, called the Odo Festival.
Oh.
I can't remember the full name. It was something A with A, Awuru, I think. But anyway, I remember as Odo Festival. I think it happens every 2 years, not every year. And it's believed that that's when the spirits return to Earth. And so they kind of like celebrate them with, food and music, and they wear masks and they dance. So yeah, I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's cool.
Imagine a festival for 6 months every 2 years. I'm down.
Yeah, sounds great. Let's do it. Like, I know that some festivals are really long, but that's the first time I've heard of one that's 6 months long.
6 months long is very long, but at least it's every 2 years, not every year. So
yeah,
maybe that's what they're following. I mean, some kind of calendar, or their ancestors had written it down or something, and they were like,
when you feel the ghost energy is just too much, then you're like, oh, it's time. Time for the festival.
Maybe that, like, there's a medium, like, okay, it's time. Everybody start wearing masks. Let's celebrate. But every other ritual that I read about was very, very similar to Dia de los Muertos.
Yes. Most of the festivals seem to be that way. Yeah. It's a lot of honoring the dead that are in your family, bringing them the food that they enjoyed in life. Yeah. And different smaller, like, rituals that go along with it. Like in Mexico, we have, of course, the Altar de Muertos, the dead people altar, technically very badly translated, but that's how you translate it technically. And I know I never studied it because that's something that they teach you in elementary school here in Mexico. But I didn't go to elementary school in Mexico, so I completely missed that. But they teach you what every tier of the altar means, what all the food, where you specifically have to put the food, the types of candles you're supposed to get, why the specific flowers and stuff like that. But I never got those classes, so I don't know, but I kind of have an idea. I know that those flowers are chosen specifically for their color, I think. And they're supposed to be like the road that the spirits can walk on. And then the food has to be like front and center. And then you have the picture of the person. Yeah. The picture of the person or people. Sometimes you put many people. Most people prefer to do one person per altar. But there are some that do like families. I think it's food, then the candy skulls, and then the candles on the top, I think. I think that's the way it's supposed to go. And the candles are the guides, and the skulls, what were the significance of the skulls? They have their own like story, but I cannot remember it for the life of me right now. So it's more contemporary Mexico, right? They represent the goddess or something like that. I don't know. But it's not was it like there pre-colonial times? It was. Let's see. I know because I looked it up because the goddess was like calling to me a little bit, but then I read her story and I was like, no, I don't think we can work together, ma'am. But basically, the story of the Mesoamerican, or we'll go with Aztec because it's the same goddess. Okay. It's like saying that Venus and Aphrodite are different. No, it's the same goddess. So the goddess of death, who is the wife of the Lord of Death, basically queen of the underworld. Her name is impossible to pronounce. Really? How would you spell it? Hold on, let me send it to you. Is this her? Yeah. This is the Aztec version. of her name. I'm going to send it to you here in Skype. If I can remember more or less, it's Mictecacquehuatl. But say that fast.
Mictecacquehuatl.
You have to put a little bit of phlegm in it. So she basically is the Lady of Death. Is her name? She's the she protects.
Is that why the land of the dead is called Michitlan?
It's named after her and her husband. It's basically that is World of Death. She is Lady of Death, and her husband is God of Death or Man of Death.
Man of
Lord of
Man of Death.
Lord of the World of the Dead is his name, and his name is Mictlantectoctl.
Okay, never mind.
I hate trying to pronounce Aztec words.
So many TL words.
So many TLIs, HUATL. The people who can do that, amazing. Anyway, so she basically watches over the bones of the dead. And she is the one that is in charge of the death festival. She's the one that created them, and she organizes them according to the gods. So so the festivals originally were in her honor because she was the one that was doing them, and it was basically the same as Day of the Dead. It was just putting food out for the people who were dead. She would let them go so they could visit you.
Now it seems like to me that because it also coincides, I feel like they did that on purpose. The Catholic
yes, they totally
the Catholic Church, they did that on purpose. They were like, "Oh, you have an awesome event. You know what? Actually, that day, we also had another awesome event called the All Saints Day. Yeah. That's
it's
the
basically
same
the same. So you might as well do ours.
Exactly, and they did the same thing with Christmas because the pagans were celebrating it in December because it's the winter solstice, and they were like, "Oh, you have this awesome thing. Oh, you know what? Actually, that was the birthday of Jesus, bro. That was the birthday of Jesus. So it's Jesus' birthday. Like, no, it's not possible. He was probably born in February. No. It's Jesus' birthday. I know. And also, there is this weird guy who goes into everybody's house and will eat your milk and cookies and give you gifts. When you're sleeping. So that's also what that happens on Jesus's birthday. So that's the thing
ours.
now.
That's ours.
It's like, oh my God, get the fuck off of our festivals. You know what I'm saying?
I know. If you not to knock on Christianity and stuff like that, but they be shady. Old Christianity was shady
especially.
as fuck.
Yeah, because there was also this Catholic guy called Guy Fawkes in England who tried to kill the Protestant king. And I think maybe around this time, and that's how the English now celebrate, around the time of Halloween, which is I think 1st or 2nd November, the Guy Fawkes Day, or I can't remember. It was something like that.
It's like on the 5th of November?
5th of November. Yeah. 5th of November. So they celebrate they don't celebrate Guy Fawkes, but I don't know what they do, but it has something to do with the guy. So my point being that Catholics are crazy.
They are and were. Some still are. But it's like remember the big blue book of witchcraft?
Yeah.
That honestly is too big. It's too big of a book. It's hard to study. Like, it just takes up too much space. I was reading the first chapter. The whole first chapter is just like history of witchcraft.
Yeah.
And so much of it is like, it was like this, and it developed, on its way. And then Christianity was like, yoink!
Yoink!
Basically. Christianity was like, no, this is Satan. But if you do it in the name of our God, then it's good.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly. Exactly. That's exactly what they did. And it's exactly what they do. And we are a bunch of suckers who are still following on that route. Well, now I made a poem.
Yep. But it's like, it's not our fault. It's like, not.
Yeah, a lot of the education is blocked, because
Yeah.
I mean, we are what, in our early 30s, and we are just getting to know about all this rich culture hidden under colonialism. So, but I think the next generation, Generation Z, and their sons and daughters and children, I think will be better. We'll have more exposure to information, education, knowledge, and I have high hopes from them.
Yeah, I hope so. I hope so. Like, there are many, many less people nowadays who are just all about tradition. Like, a lot of
Yeah.
people are letting tradition go and making their own traditions, or going back to even older traditions, because it makes more sense.
Do you have that? Do you have this saying in Mexico too? Because I remember something that we say back in India, like when something is dying, it um, it struggles the most. Like it gives its last and final big fight,
Yeah, I think there is. I don't remember exactly what the saying
Uh-huh.
is, but yeah, there is one.
Yeah, we say that a lot. So when things come to an end, they fight the hardest, basically. So I feel like this is the last stage of any tradition that we know that we are seeing now, and we will see in the next 4 years, and that's it. That's it.
Yeah.
That will be the end. And so in these last 4 years, I think tradition or conserve like conservatism, I think that's what it's called. Just holding on to values that do not matter anymore, that do not fulfill their role as they used to before, probably anymore. It's just like giving its last fight, its last fight, and it's coming on strong. It's giving its all for its survival. But unfortunately, its time is over, and we are in the last 4 years of it. From 2025, it's going to be a new world order,
Yes.
and we
Like,
just have to get on board with it.
like I think one of the other rituals that I remember reading about in the witchcraft book, that there was a ritual for fertility around this time. So you would have like a lot of non-procreative sex, so that the cows would be fertile, the earth would be fertile, and that kind of stuff. So it was like your energy went into the earth so that you could make it fertile, and you would get good harvest the next year. And because this was a ritual for a different religion, that's why sex became such like a bad thing in the Christian religion, because it was a way to control the people, so that
Also, I read that controlling people's bodies is the best way to control them. Like, that's why, women, the first attack on women is always on their body.
yes.
Trying to take that autonomy away, because you don't have control on anything else but your body. So if I control your body, that's the ultimate show of power. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's why don't have sex, don't masturbate, don't this, don't that, only for procreation. Only give birth to white babies, like sterilizing people of color. So yeah, of course it was super racist. And And of course, like very imperialist too.
Yeah.
Very imperialist,
It's just
controlling people's bodies.
about control. Like what year was this in when the Christian church was just barely starting to completely take out the temples of, you know, the pagans, because they had their own temples. So the church would destroy
Saw
the
that in
temple.
Mexico City.
How they would destroy the temples and build a church on top of where it was, so that people out of habit would just keep going, because it was like the same place.
Yeah, it's also like the complete and utter destruction of indigenous community culture.
Yeah.
They were just like they
Can you
didn't.
imagine how many beautiful
That's
temples, beautiful ruins are gone?
yeah. That's it's just I don't know. This is like fucking psychopathic cruelty on a macro level. Because I'll
Yeah.
tell you something. Like when the British came, when the India was invaded like so many fucking times, right? It was by the British. Before that, it was the Mughals. Before that, it was so many people. But they never came and were like, oh, you know what? Fuck your temples or fuck your this. It was always, okay, you have this religion, we have this religion, and we are going to live together in harmony. Like that was at least what they said. Whether they did that or not is a whole other conversation. But that was always like, okay, you know what? We'll try to live in harmony as much as possible. And for many kings, that they actually did that, whether that was a Muslim emperor or a Buddhist emperor or a Hindu emperor, they did that, you know, like Samudragupta, Ashoka, Babur, Akbar. So they all did that. They all fulfilled the promise of unity in diversity. But this, what the Spanish did, it was crazy. Like it's just, I'm going to eliminate the people so much, like people would doubt whether they even existed or not. And that's why they destroyed the temples, because that was not only a place of worship, but also was a place of culture and community. Have you been to the temples of Mexico City?
No.
If you go there, it's kind of like a museum now. So
Yeah.
they will, when
obviously.
you take the tour, they'll be like, oh, this is where they like ate. This is where they relaxed. That's where they did their saunas and stuff. I'm like, so this was not a temple like place of worship. This was like a community center.
It was a community center. Yeah, that's what they were.
So they destroyed community centers because they wanted just wanted to erase it. They were like, no, this is like clean slate. This is Spanish now, and it was like 90% successful in doing that.
Yeah, it was.
Because
And
how
that's
many
scary.
Mexicans can speak their one of the Mexican languages? Hardly anybody. I know only one person. I've been here for 3 years, and I know only one person.
I know no one.
There you go.
Like, I don't know anyone who natively or even for fun learned how to speak Mayan or Aztec. And I know that Mayan is dying because the people nobody wants to learn it.
Like,
and I'm like,
the ones that are still alive there are so many, but the Nahuatl is the one
many.
that comes the most in conversations.
Mm-hmm.
But nobody can speak Nahuatl.
Of course not. Do you see how difficult it is? You're like, I'm just gonna learn this language that turns my tongue inside out and backwards.
Yeah, that's exactly what that language is. For example, like sometimes when I interview people from South Africa or like other African countries, some of them, I don't know which countries because I'm illiterate and uneducated. I don't know which countries, but there's some of them
over there, too far.
Yeah, too far. But there are some countries that have the click of the tongue, which is that.
Oh yeah.
So their names have that click sound, right?
It's like, there's a video on YouTube with the dude who has, I think that it says the longest name ever, something like that.
Yeah.
And it's one of those. And
with the click.
He says it so fluidly, and you're like,
it takes practice. I can do it too now, but it happened out of practice. So I don't know if you remember, there was this friend of mine from South Africa who came to Mexico to teach.
kind of remember.
Yeah, so
You told
she
me.
was the one who taught me how to do the clicks. It's actually easy, but it needs focus. Like when you're doing it
You
for the
have to
first
think
thing,
about it.
exactly, you have to think about it. It doesn't come naturally to you. So when these candidates like pronounce their name with the click, I immediately tell them, I'm not gonna do that. I am sorry, because I don't want to embarrass myself. I'm not gonna spend the interview trying to pronounce your name. So they always
You have
laugh
a
and they're like,
shortened version of your name?
yeah. So they always like, yeah, I have an English name. You can call me Patrick or Sam or this and that.
You're
And
like,
I'm like,
that'll
I
work.
am really sorry. I respect your name and culture, but I cannot,
I can't
you know,
say it.
I can't spend the rest of the interview just like trying to pronounce your name.
I know.
Yeah.
It's just like which other language is like that? Welsh, I think.
Ooh,
Welsh
yeah.
is also
Welsh,
weird.
Welsh,
It sounds
Scottish,
cool, but
they're
it's weird.
Irish. The language,
Oh yeah, the Irish language is also really
yeah,
weird.
it's some kind of Celtic.
Yeah, it's
Celtic, isn't it?
Celtic. They're both
Yeah,
Celtic rooted.
yeah.
Weird.
Oh my God, it sounds so weird. Like
Like,
especially when you see it written, it's like, oh, this is English, but no, it's
but
not.
no, it's not.
It's not
You're like,
English.
it's not English. It's
Yeah,
weird. I know. It's like
exactly.
not even Nordic is that like weird.
No,
They don't have those combination of letters that make a whole other sound.
yeah.
Like
No, Nordic is, I think, pretty, I mean, it's very similar to German, honestly. Like the more
it
I,
is. It
yeah, the
is.
more I learn their words and different, yeah, different words from their culture and history, I'm like, that's very German. Because
Yeah,
I know
it's
a bit
like
of German.
they're those languages have a very close root.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
and that's where English comes from. So that's why it's easier for us to understand. Like I
English is
get
a
cat.
cheater, let me tell
English
you.
is a cheater.
Let me tell you, it has no personality of its own.
No, it
It
doesn't.
steals from other people.
English is the basic bitch of language, and it steals other people's like personality traits for itself.
Exactly, and calls it its own culture.
Yes,
English
it's
doesn't
the
have a
white
culture.
bitch that pretends she has like uh different cultures in her blood, and that's why she celebrates
Oh,
all
you
of this.
know what? I just found out this word that we can use for kings. Hear me out.
Yeah, exactly.
Maharaja. It's a it's a Hindi word, by the way, from Sanskrit. Fuck you. You know? Fuck you.
Oh my gosh.
The word bazaar. Oh, you know what we can call markets? Here we go. Here we go. Bazaar.
It's
Again, a
like a
word from
person at a
India.
weed circle in the 50s.
Yeah.
Bizarre. And everyone's like,
Bazaar. Yeah.
yeah.
Exactly. Exactly. So English, fuck you. Fuck
Yeah.
you for
Like
being such a cheater.
English is in a weird place where it's so easy, but at the same time it's so complicated.
Yeah.
Like it's easy to learn, impossible to understand. Like you
Why
can
is
learn
that?
English.
That's actually true. Why is that true?
I don't know why is English so easy to understand. Like to learn. Like every
Because it
every
cheated.
people that I know, like not a lot of people have it 100% impossible that they can't speak English.
Yeah.
Like once you start learning English, it clicks in such a way that you're like, ah yes, this ruleless creation is of course so easy. Because
Yeah.
you try to teach the rules of English and then you're like, okay, but these words over here don't follow those rules. They got their own thing going on. I
Exactly.
remember when I was teaching English, a lot of times like there, because the students would ask, is like, why doesn't this one follow the rules? And I
Mm-hmm.
say, because it's stolen from the French.
Yeah. I don't know French.
Always, it's a
I
word that
can't
was
speak
stolen
French.
from the French.
But whenever I ask Mark, like, you know what, I'm thinking of finally like diving into French because I dove into so many other languages like
Uh-huh.
Spanish, German, but French is the only one that I have not even touched. And he was like, you know what, it wouldn't be that difficult as you think, because you will find a lot of words from English in French, just pronounced differently. And I'm like, what?
Why?
So, and then I'm like, guess who's the obvious cheater here?
English.
English.
It's like, let's use their word, but let's say it differently. That's just the way English is. And I dare any English scholar to say different.
Well,
like
anybody
you're
who
lying
studies
to yourself.
linguistics, they will say that, yeah, English did take a lot from, and I think it was social because of it,
It's
of the
mostly-
colonialism that it was doing all around the world.
Yeah, because
So
I
they were
remember
like,
for my my translating degree, I took a class that was called The Story of English. I think I've told you about this. It's basically, it was a class where we just read a book. That was a class. So, oh my God, it's the most, I cannot lie, it's the most boring book to read on the most interesting subject. It was basically reading English. So boring, but it's so interesting. Like, the information in the book I found so interesting, and I would have liked to have seen it or read it in a different context. But the people who wrote the book wrote it in such a way that it wasn't exactly academic or historical. It was just boring. Whatever that category.
Maybe the presentation, the way it presented the
presentation
information
was really boring.
Yeah.
And it basically went through like how different parts of the world, because English was the English speaking people were colonializing everything. They were just grabbing other people's pieces of language so that they could more easily colonize that world, because they were using
that was
their
the
words.
idea. That was the idea, and it was a very clever thing to do. To be honest. Very clever thing to do. It's like, oh look, I'm like you. Not really, but I'm like you.
And it was a lot of turning the people against themselves out of fear, basically.
Yeah, definitely. Like it's very complex, of course, and we're just talking about one part of it, like the linguistic part of it. It was just one of their weapons.
There's a lot more, but linguistically, that's why English is so freaking weird.
No, using English to, also divide class, like educated, uneducated, literate, illiterate. That was also a weapon they used against, many peoples that they colonized, because what better way to divide them?
Proper English.
Yeah, exactly. Like, oh, this is proper English and this is street English. And if you speak street English, then you are less than.
Yeah.
If you speak proper English, it means you went to a nice school, you have money, blah, 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 privileges, right? And it's still there in many countries. It's still there.
It still is. It still
like is. Your intelligence or your class or your privilege is measured by how well you speak this language and how properly you do.
Which is so weird, because English is such a fucked up language. How is it proper? Like,
exactly, cheater.
You're a language of lies.
It's still my favorite.
My first language, so
it's still my favorite though. It's my first language too.
It's that you're constantly learning new things about new words in English.
Exactly.
And you're like, that's a different word. And we're not talking about words that are being like created.
Yeah.
Because every year they create new words. But old words, and you're like, wait, I heard that when I was younger. That's what it means.
Yeah.
Like that. And you're like, oh, well,
like, for example, recently I was asking my boyfriend, I was like, which one? So the words condone and condemn. I'm like, which one was which one was bad and which one was nah? Like,
so like condone is nah, condemn is bad.
Condone is like, oh, I do not condone this behavior. It means I don't encourage this behavior.
I do not encourage or accept this behavior.
Yeah. So I always confuse condone and condemn. And even like recently I was like, which one was yeah? Which one was nah? Like,
It's like condone is I don't approve, but
Uh-huh.
what the fuck ever,
Yeah.
go. And then condemn, you have to think of it like as a religious word, and then you'll go, oh yes, bad.
Yeah.
Condemn, bad.
Yeah. It was
Religious,
like
bad.
yeah, so it still happens to me. And I cannot
Yeah.
imagine like new students of English, and when they see homonyms, they're like, what?
What? It's like, what is the they're like those posts on Facebook where they're like, red and read are not the same, but neither is
Yeah.
lead and lead. And it's just red, it's just the same word, but
Yeah, exactly.
like you know which one it is.
You know, you read it correctly, you
You
know?
read it correctly, and then you look at it again and you're like, wait. It is weird. Why?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, like bear and all those.
Bear, bye, bye, bye.
Bye bye bye.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
bye, bye, bye. And then
There,
sell, sell.
there.
There. There are three.
Your and your.
Your and your, yeah.
All of those.
Whew, child.
English.
English.
Like honestly, we could pick apart English forever, but like the
Hello.
language. Let's go back to Halloween. That's fun.
How did we get here? Who brought us here?
We were talking about Halloween traditions that led to colonialism, which led to English.
I
It's
mean,
just
yeah.
that's just how it goes.
Yeah, that sounds like that sounds very logical actually.
Like I don't really remember more like any other weird traditions because they're all basically
Yeah.
close to the Day of
The
the
ones
Dead.
I know and kind of studied, yeah, these are the only ones I know. Like from Asia, I don't know if China has anything. I mean, Hong Kong is not China, I guess.
No, it's kind of, but not.
It is, but not really. So I'm just gonna like for the sake of simplicity, I'm gonna say Hong Kong is not China. So yeah, I don't know if China, like mainland China, has anything. I know about Hong Kong because it was really funny.
Yeah.
Philippines because I have Filipino friends, and Japan because I have Japanese friends. That's it. I don't know any other culture.
What do you think they do
African
in
because I
Jamaica?
have African friends. They are the ones who told me about the Odo festival. But I don't know anybody. I don't know anybody Irish or Scottish actually. Do you know anybody from UK?
From the UK? Like, no.
I don't know.
I
Like
used to, but not anymore.
I found out about the Samhain from like Google. Like I was like, oh, the origin of Halloween, and they were like, oh, it is probably from Samhain, which is the Irish Scottish Celtic pagan culture of what was it? The culture of harvesting? I forgot. Sorry, I was not paying attention.
Yeah. All right. So before we finish the episode, I want to do a little test with you. I did half of this test myself, but then I stopped.
Okay.
But but I'll do it again later. So basically, this is a test. It's a Japanese. It's one of those Japanese school children like tests to see if you can see ghosts.
Okay.
They have so many. There are so many. I don't know why Japan has this obsession with different types of spirits.
South Korea too. South Korea.
It's like the Asian cultures. They're like very big about spirits and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's
so
true.
The ability and the level to see spirits is known as Reiki.
Really? That's Reiki?
Reiki?
I thought Reiki was a healing thing.
I mean, it's spiritual energy.
Energy healing. Yeah, Reiki
Healing.
is energy
So
healing.
it's spiritual energy is what Reiki is.
Okay.
So your level of Reiki is how well you can see ghosts.
Okay.
And so
I'm sure I'll fail, but I wanna
really
do it.
So here's the test, okay?
Yeah.
close your little eyeballs.
What you gonna do?
You're just gonna close your eyeballs.
And then?
And then I'm going to tell you to imagine things, and then we'll see.
Okay.
Okay,
Okay.
so close your eyes.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine the outside of your childhood home, where you grew up.
Okay.
You're standing in front of the house, on the
Mhm.
street that's in front of the house.
Okay.
So you can see the front door.
Mm-hmm.
You can see like whatever's in front of it if you had a yard.
I had a
Window.
garage.
A garage.
There's a blue car.
Mm-hmm. All right. So you see all this.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Now go to the door and
Mm-hmm.
open it.
Okay.
Walk in, turn around and close the door.
Mm-hmm.
And now look into the house. You see whatever room is the front room.
Mm-hmm.
And now what you're going to do is you're going to go through the house, the whole house,
Mm-hmm.
and in a clockwise fashion, open all the windows
Which is clockwise? Like this?
to the right.
Yeah, to my right. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, to your right. So open
Closing
all the windows.
Open the windows? Oh, I was closing
Open
it.
them.
Okay.
Open them.
Open them.
Every single one that can be opened, open it.
Mm-hmm.
Let me know when you've opened all the windows.
All the bathrooms too?
Yeah, all of them.
Okay. Okay.
All right, all the windows are open. Now, in the counterclockwise motion, close all of the windows.
I'm kind of getting scared now.
Yeah, just do it.
It's scary. I'm
yes,
alone.
it is.
So many windows.
I mean, it is India.
The door too? There is a door to the balcony, or just the windows?
Just the windows.
Okay. All right.
All right. Now, open the door and leave the house.
Okay.
All right, you can open your eyes. Hi. All right, so when you went into the house, did you see anything besides the house? Like people, animals, or stuff like that?
No.
The house was empty?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So the way that it goes, so if you see nothing, you have low Reiki. So you do not have the ability to see ghosts. That doesn't mean you can't perceive them, but you can't see them with your eyes. If you see things like animals, like dogs, cats, pets, stuff like that, then you have a slightly higher level because people are very connected to their pets. So it's very likely that you'll have just a little bit more ability to see ghosts. And then if you see people, like family members and stuff like that, then you have an even higher, like that's mid-level. But if the family members that you see have their back turned towards you or they look weird, then that's an even higher. And then if you see a complete stranger inside the house, then you can see ghosts for sure. Like that's the way.
I didn't see any living being. I just saw plants.
Plants?
Yeah. I just saw, like, I could visualize the plants outside my room, outside the house. I saw the car, but there was nobody there.
Okay. Yeah, so yours is like pretty low, so that's good.
I am glad that I can see ghosts because, yeah, I don't think I can handle it.
Fun. It's annoying. But like, I used to see them. Like I've told you, we had the episode where we talked about the ghosts we saw, and I basically blocked that out since I was young, for like when I was a teenager, because it just it's annoying. More than anything, it's annoying. It's like seeing someone that isn't there. It's like, You know, it's something else you have to remember. So yeah, so that is. I thought it would be fun. I'm gonna do it with my dad on Sunday. See what
I'm
he
kind of
said.
thinking it's pretty interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I saw something, but I thought that I was imagining it. Like, but it's not somebody that I saw. Like when I
Uh-huh.
was walking up the stairs, so when you said the gate, so we have like two doors. So when you
Yeah.
first said, "Oh, you opened the gate," it was the first door I opened, and I was climbing up the stairs. And there was a girl, but then it wasn't there, like after I can't explain this. Like I thought I saw her, but I don't think I saw her. I don't know
Mm.
if that makes sense. I saw her once when I was climbing up the stairs and once when I was going down, like almost at the same position. But it wasn't like, oh, I know her, but it's just somebody. Because when you were telling me, I was kind of imagining myself as the small girl too, like when I was younger.
Uh-huh.
Because you said childhood, so I was kind of like
Yeah.
thinking, I don't know, it automatically happened. Like I was imagining myself as a child. Um, so it was like somebody
Your
of my
height.
height, yeah, with black hair and a white frock, I guess. But
Mm-hmm.
it was like for a moment there and then it wasn't there. So I thought I just imagined it.
It could have been like a ghost you saw when you were a child, perhaps.
I don't remember.
It's a lot of times children can't really differentiate the difference between a ghost and an actual living person. So, like
Mm,
a lot of us talk to and interact with ghosts and don't even notice the difference between them and a living person. So, I wouldn't
yeah,
doubt if so many people have like at least one ghost, or they just didn't know it was a ghost.
she was near my cycle.
Mm.
When I was young, there was a purple cycle I had. It was really cool. Bicycle, I mean. And she was right there.
Yeah, likely so. Like a child that you saw once when you were young. It's possible.
Yeah, could be like a suppressed memory, but
Yeah.
yeah, just like yeah, but it was like completely empty. Like I didn't see any of my family members either.
Mm-hmm.
Like no dead family members or anything. Just that girl.
Mm. Interesting. Interesting. So, uh, conclusions on Halloween festivities and basically autumn festivities around the world. I think everything is interesting to learn about because the rituals are so symbolic when it
Yeah.
comes to death and harvest type festivals. Like that's how they're so symbolic, and I would love to learn so much more about them. But I feel like so much of those festivals has been lost over time that it's impossible to know if the version you're being told is like even close to what the original intent was, you know?
I think yeah, I mean when you pass along stories through generations, I mean a lot of it gets edited and subtracted. So yeah, we would never like have the whole story always. But
Mm-hmm.
I guess as long as it's not oppression, stories of, imperialism, um, made on top of original culture, and,
Mm-hmm.
I think it's fine. We can always dig, right? Like we are so fortunate in that way that we have access to this plethora of knowledge. Whenever we want, we can gain access to it. So
Yeah.
I guess make the most of it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Really. Like, um, if any of our listeners feel like they want to learn more about any festival or any autumn type festival or rituals, 100% go, Google it and see what you find and compare and see if you can, if enough of the story coincides and be like, yes, this probably, most likely, maybe is the truth.
Yeah, exactly.
And try to find original sources if at all possible, even though those are very hard to find, especially if they're in a language you don't read.
Yep.
That's what makes it more difficult. So, I think that brings us to the end of this episode. And I think for our listeners, I want to say, if you guys have a tradition or a ritual that you guys celebrate every single year around this time of year, we want to hear about it. We want to know what it is that you guys do, because everybody has their own cool little traditions, and I like learning about those. Those are cool.
Yes, tell us. We would love to know. I mean, we just know some of them, like from research, from our friends. But yeah, you tell us, like, what do you do? Do you have your own culture going on?
Exactly. And as we say every single episode, I will not haunt you.
And you will not haunt me.
And we'll see, hear, read all of you guys next time.
Yes. Bye.
Bye. Hey everyone, thank you so much for watching our video or listening to our podcast on your preferred podcasting app. I just wanted you guys to know that we are currently also on Instagram. You can DM us your questions, comments, or ideas via Instagram. You can also send us an email at starstoriesandlife@gmail.com. It's all one word, starstoriesandlife@gmail.com. Thanks again for listening. See you next time, and wear a mask.